How long have I been in medical aesthetics? I took my first class in 2017, and it was an entire year before I ever actually touched a patient. It's not something we're taught in nursing school, so it's definitely something you have to continue to invest in. A to Z list of everything I've had done myself. So I've not had filler in my face in 3 years, minus I had half a syringe in my lips about 9 months ago, but we dissolved that. And about 2 weeks ago, I went to Dr. Porto and had a surgical lip lift. So that is where they make the small incision right along here. You can hardly see it. And he removed about 4 millimeters of tissue. That shortened my philtrum column and gave me a lift. So I don't know if I'll put filler in the future. I'm really happy with the way it looks. I do Sculptra, 2 vials every year. So when people come in and they're like, I want cheek filler like you have, these are my cheeks. These are what, God gave me. But I do believe doing the Sculptra has really thickened the dermis, tightened my skin up to where I want it, and it gives a really healthy, pretty glow. I had a breast reduction lift, and then I went back and had small implants put in. So I went from a triple D to an A, which was a complete culture shock. And while there were parts of it I loved, there were parts I just didn't. So I did have implants put back in to become a C. I had skin removal to my abdomen after my hysterectomy. I had, and you can go back and watch these online, but I had the dog ears, which is the excess skin. I didn't need a tummy tuck or anything, but I did have that removed. What else have I had done? Lipo 360 and BBL, that was done in Miami, Florida by Dr. Mendieta. Probably the most painful procedure I've ever had done, but I don't really regret it because I feel like it has motivated me to maintain it. That's a misconception, is that you have it and you don't have to maintain it. You do. I have veneers. Dr. Kenny Wilstead in Texas did those for me. My eyebrows are microbladed. This is my hair. I always get asked about my extensions. This is actually just my hair, so I don't have those. I don't really wear makeup. If you know me, I try to stay as natural as possible. I let my patients see my imperfections throughout the month. We deal with the sun damage together. So tinted sunscreen is going to be my thing, and usually mascara, and that's it. So I think that's it. What's one problem with the industry currently that I see? I feel like there's not a lot of transparency in our industry. So I've seen people who have been injecting, a year or less than a year, and they're opening up trainings and academies and all of this crazy stuff. I know people who've been doing this years, and they're doing the same thing, and they're taking people's money and they're training, but they're not going over all of the business side and the legal side and the ethical side of it. I think that's going to be a huge thing in our industry. So anyone that knows, when you come in and train with me, yes, you're going to get that hands-on training, but we're also going over, the whole picture with it, because I want you set up for success from the get-go. I want you to know all the ins and outs, all the legalities. I don't know all the legals. That's why we have great lawyers that we have. But if you ask a question, I'm going to do everything I can to figure it out for you. The other thing I'm going to say is injectors not saying no. So unfortunately, over the years, I've seen this industry get this ugly side where people want money, money, money. And so they're not telling patients no. They're not doing what's best for them. And that's how you get sometimes an overdone look or a procedure you don't even need. The number of patients I've had come in and we've sat and we've had, an in-depth conversation about everything they've had done, when in reality they just needed these 1 or 2 things to really correct what was bothering them to begin with. So those are going to be the big things I would say is those. What's my favorite drink? So I'm not really an alcohol drinker. I would say my go-tos are going to be sweet tea or Pepsi with lime is definitely my favorite. Of course, water. Gotta have your water. Have I ever made a mistake? Yes. I'm human. I'm not a robot. Have I dropped brows? Absolutely. Have I had dermal filler occlusions? I have. I think it's ignorance to think you're not going to have these things when you do what we do. What I can say I pride myself on is I own up to it. If I do something wrong, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to say, hey, this is what happened. This is why. Here's how we're going to fix it now, or how we're going to fix it in the future. I believe having that transparency is why I have the relationships I have with my patients. I know injectors that pride themselves on never having an occlusion, and then I go and look at their page and they're new, they're not injecting advanced areas, or they've just not been doing it long enough. So, my thing is, the number of patients I see every week compared to the number of complications I have, I am still so thrilled with those ratios. Again, I continue education. I continue educating on safety and compliance. So yes, I've had those things happen. Yes, they will continue to happen in the future. But one thing I can honestly say is I'm going to own up to it, and we're going to hold each other's hand, and we're going to get through it, and I'm always going to learn from it.